Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever been in a conversation, maybe with a friend or on a first date, and suddenly there's a pause, a complete silence? And in that moment, does your brain just go into overdrive? You start thinking, oh no, did I say something wrong? Is this awkward? I need to say something, anything, right now. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's a super common human experience. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Why does silence make so many of us feel so deeply uncomfortable? It's just the absence of sound, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the fascinating psychology behind our fear of silence. We'll explore why our brains are wired to fill the void, what it says about our social connections, and how we can actually learn to embrace those quiet moments. Stick around because by the end of this video, you might just start seeing silence as a friend instead of a foe. So let's start with our brains. From an evolutionary perspective, our ancestors lived in a world full of constant auditory cues. The rustle of leaves could mean a predator was nearby. The sound of running water meant survival. A sudden silence in a noisy forest? That was a major red flag. It often signaled danger, putting our ancestors on high alert. This ancient survival instinct is still hardwired into our brains today. When a conversation suddenly goes quiet, a small, primal part of our brain might interpret it as a social threat. It's like our internal alarm system is saying, warning. Something is not right here. The social dynamic has changed. This triggers a subtle fight-or-flight response, making us feel anxious and compelling us to fix the situation by speaking. So that feeling of panic isn't you being weird. It's your ancient brain just trying to keep you safe in the social jungle. Beyond our evolutionary wiring, our modern social conditioning plays a massive role. Think about it. From a young age, we're taught that conversation is the key to connection. We learn to associate talking with engagement, interest, and politeness. Silence, on the other hand, can be interpreted as the opposite: disinterest, disagreement, or even rejection. When a pause lingers, we might start to worry about what the other person is thinking. We project our own insecurities onto the silence. Are they judging me? Are they bored? Do they dislike me? This fear of negative judgment is a powerful motivator. We rush to fill the silence not just to keep the conversation going, but to manage the other person's perception of us. We want to appear interesting, witty, and engaged. Silence threatens that carefully constructed social image. In a world that values constant communication and quick responses, silence can feel like a failure to perform our social duties. Another huge reason we dislike silence is that it forces us to turn inward. When there are no external distractions, no one talking, no music playing, we are left alone with our own thoughts. And for many people, that can be a scary place to be. Silence can act like a mirror, reflecting our own anxieties, insecurities, and unresolved issues. If you're constantly busy and surrounded by noise, you might be using that as a way to avoid confronting your own inner world. When silence strips that away, the thoughts we've been pushing down can come bubbling to the surface. It's in these quiet moments that we might start to question our life choices, worry about the future, or replay past mistakes. It's uncomfortable because it forces a level of self-awareness that we might not be ready for. So we fill the air with chatter, podcasts, or music, creating a buffer between ourselves and our own minds. Let's talk about the social context, because the meaning of silence changes dramatically depending on who you're with. Imagine a long, comfortable silence with your best friend or a long-term partner. It probably doesn't feel awkward at all, right? It might even feel intimate and peaceful. That's because with people we trust deeply, silence signifies comfort, acceptance, and a shared understanding that doesn't require words. You don't feel the pressure to perform or entertain. You can just be together. Now contrast that with a silence on a first date or in a job interview. It feels completely different. In these high-stakes situations, silence is loaded with ambiguity. We don't have that established foundation of trust, so our brains go into overdrive trying to interpret the meaning behind the quiet. This is where the discomfort really kicks in. The silence feels like an empty space that needs to be filled with proof of our worthiness, our intelligence, or our compatibility. So the awkwardness of silence isn't inherent to the silence itself. It's about the lack of established safety and connection in the relationship. Now for the good news. We can change our relationship with silence. We can learn to not just tolerate it, but actually appreciate it. The first step is simple awareness. The next time you feel that urge to fill a silent gap, just pause. Notice the feeling. Acknowledge the anxiety without immediately acting on it. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of right now? Just by observing this reaction, you begin to take away its power. You can also practice embracing silence in your daily life. Try going for a walk without headphones. Sit in a room for 5 minutes with no distractions. This is a form of mindfulness. It trains your brain to be comfortable with stillness and to be present with your own thoughts without judgment. You'll start to notice that your thoughts are just thoughts. They come and go, and you don't have to be afraid of them. When it comes to conversations, you can reframe silence as a tool rather than a threat. Instead of seeing a pause as a sign of failure, view it as an opportunity. A moment of silence can allow both people to gather their thoughts, process what was just said, and formulate a more meaningful response. It can add weight and gravity to a conversation. Sometimes the most profound connections happen not in the flurry of words, but in the shared quiet moments. You can even signal that you're comfortable with the pause. Instead of panicking, just maintain gentle eye contact, offer a small smile, and nod thoughtfully. This communicates that you're engaged in processing, not disengaged and bored. This simple non-verbal cue can put the other person at ease and transform an awkward silence into a comfortable, reflective pause. It gives the conversation space to breathe. Ultimately, learning to be comfortable with silence is about learning to be comfortable with yourself. It's about building the inner security to know that your worth is defined by your ability to be constantly entertaining. It's about trusting that the connections you have are strong enough to withstand a few moments of quiet. When you can sit in silence with another person without feeling the need to fill it, it's a sign of true intimacy and trust. And when you can sit in silence with yourself, it's a sign of self-acceptance and inner peace. It allows for deeper reflection, creativity, and a more genuine connection to the world around you. The world is a noisy place, and it's constantly vying for our attention. Deliberately choosing moments of silence is a powerful act of self-care. It's a way to reset your mind, lower your stress levels, and reconnect with what truly matters. So the next time silence falls, I challenge you to try something new. Don't rush to fill it. Take a deep breath. Look at the person you're with, and just let the moment be. You might be surprised by what you discover in that quiet space. It might not be awkwardness or judgment, but a new level of understanding and connection. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this topic. What are your thoughts on silence? Does it make you uncomfortable? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into psychology and self-improvement, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.